Okay, what if I want to know the other side of it, right? So we just did the that they all survive, that everything that we're looking at. Well, what if I want to go to the other side of it? Look at this, at least. So the phrase at least means greater than or equal to. So usually probabilities involving the phrase at least, highlight that, use the complement rule. So if I'm saying at least, that's greater than or equal to. It's the other side of it. So probabilities up to that, it's like that percentile, right? It's up to that value. That's my probability. Otherwise, the complement rule, if I say at least this, that means greater than or equal to. So beyond that, the other side of it. That's why we use the complement. So we want to compute the probability that at least, see, it's all about these key words. And, right? And means multiply, or means add. At least we're using the complement. At least one male out of 1,000 aged 24 years will die during the course of the year if the probability that a randomly selected 24-year-old male survives the year is 0.9986. All right, so I know survival is 0.9986. What I want to know is that at least one will die, which is the opposite of surviving. When I'm talking about at least, when I'm talking about the complement, all right, everything is opposite of what you think is going to happen. So the probability that at least one dies, I know it's kind of a morbid topic, right? But that's statistics. This is a lot of biology. They do this a lot with animal science. This is going to be 1 minus the probability that all survive. Here's the key. This at least puts us at the complement. That somebody dies puts us at the opposite. Everything that can be the opposite is the complement. I want the other side of it. If I want to focus on at least one dying, then I want the probability that they all survive. So I want to know the opposite of everything that's going to happen. And that's what helps set us up. All right, that part is the setup part. So this will be 1 minus, I know that we're just talking about 1,000 out of 1,000 of these are 0.9986 to the 1,000. I was trying to look for that number. 1,000 sets us up. All right. At least 1 out of 1,000. So you just use your calculator for that, right? 1 minus, and I get 0.2464. If I were to plug that 0.9986 to the 1,000, check it. Check it on your calculator and make sure we're agreeing here. So I get 0.7536 is the probability that at least one dies. I ran out of room. That's my probability. So what did we talk about mere moments ago, right? The higher this value is, I can't keep track of 1,000. So the probability that all 1,000 will live is only about 25%, right? 24.64. So the probability that at least one of those 1,000 will end up dying is about 75%, this 0.7536. But the key to this is anytime that you set this at least up, you know it's a complement, then you say dies, then you're looking at who survives. Everything over here, in order to figure out, is always opposite of what you're looking at. Okay, that's at least. That's what you're looking for. Now just practice some of those. All right, I want to end us on with a summary of probability, and then we're going to use it going forward. So, in the probability of any event is between 0 and 1 inclusive. So this is how we figure out a probability, right? It's between 0 and 1 inclusive. That's our notation that goes with it. So that's rule number 1. Rule number 2, the sample must equal 1. So the sum of the probabilities must equal 1, right? We know that if we want to say it's a probability, those two criteria have to be met. If I have disjoint and I use the word or, I'm just adding those up. If you have something in common, you have to subtract off what's in common. That's my and, what's in common, all right? If E represents any event, E to the C, which for our complement, you do 1 minus. If E and F are independent, you're using and for the multiplication. All right? So or is adding, unless you have something in common, you subtract that off. If there's nothing in common, you don't have to do this part. You only have to do this part as if there's something in common. Otherwise, you're just adding them up. Pretty cool, right? Okay. Nice. Keep soaking it up. We're getting some good